Imagine this. You walk into a boardroom where a CEO is about to make a $50 million decision. Everyone expects her to dominate the room, to display certainty, to speak first, to prove why she's in charge. Instead, she asks one simple question and goes silent. The silence stretches. People shift. Unsaid truths surface. The decision that follows isn't flashy. It's right. That pause, that quiet, is the single leadership move that changes how the organization thinks. Most people assume great leaders are great talkers. We picture speeches, confident sound bites, and charismatic monologues. But the real secret weapon, quiet, powerful, and disturbingly underrated, is listening. Not passive hearing, but disciplined, strategic, empathic listening. The leaders who talk the least often get the most right because they've turned listening into a competitive advantage. Today, we're going to unpack that advantage. I'll show you the why, the psychology and the payoff, the how, concrete habits you can use immediately, and the proof, stories from leaders who built empires by listening before speaking. By the time we're done, you'll understand why listening is not softness. It's strategy. Listening creates understanding that talking never can. When Howard Schultz first wandered into tiny cafes in Milan, he didn't narrate his conclusions. He listened, he watched baristas, noticed how people lingered, and felt the unspoken emotional architecture of those spaces. Those hours of quiet observation taught Schultz two things: ritual matters, and belonging can be designed. Starbucks wasn't an export of American coffee. It was an interpretation of human behavior, a social product created from listening. That's the basic rule. Words tell you facts. Listening reveals meaning. If you jump to solutions before you hear the whole story, you're making decisions on incomplete intelligence. You might be fast, confident, or persuasive, but you're often wrong. Listening uncovers opportunities data misses. Data is powerful. It shows patterns, but data rarely explains why people behave the way they do. That's where deep listening shines. Reed Hastings didn't just read customer surveys. He listened to frustration. Where focus groups offered shallow fixes like faster delivery, Hastings heard a deeper cry. People wanted choice and certainty. They were tired of the ritual of driving to a store, only to find the title missing. That deeper listening birthed Netflix's signature moves: recommendation algorithms, an obsession with choice, and the leap to streaming. He didn't just interpret data, he listened to the invisible demand behind the numbers. Listening builds trust faster than any other leadership act. Imagine being on Oprah's show. You don't come to be lectured, you come to be seen. Oprah's power wasn't in talking, it was in making people feel that their stories mattered. That creates psychological safety, the single factor that makes teams tell the truth, share bad news early, and take smart risks. When people feel heard, they invest emotionally in the leader's success. They stop hoarding information and start offering solutions. Trust multiplies, decision quality improves, execution accelerates. Listening is multi-layered. Learn to hear the whole signal. Too many people stop at words. Real listening operates on 5 levels. Words, the literal content; tone, urgency, doubt, enthusiasm; body language and pause, what people physically do when they're hiding something; absences, the topics nobody mentions, the elephant in the room; context, relationships, history, and power dynamics that shade meaning. Elite listeners tune all 5 simultaneously. They notice the hurried sentence that reveals fear, the skipped topic that signals shame, or the relaxed voice that masks resignation. That's where breakthroughs live. The brain fights listening, and you must choose to overcome it. Your brain is lazy in all the useful ways. While someone speaks, your mind is rehearsing a response, scanning for status cues, or loading the next slide. That's normal, but it ruins listening. Exceptional leaders practice curiosity over certainty. They extend the moment of not knowing long enough for meaningful answers to surface. Listening is a discipline. It's a deliberate refusal to be the fastest talker in the room. 4 high-leverage listening habits to master today. These are not soft skills. They're tactical moves you can deploy this afternoon. The 3-question rule. Before offering solutions, ask 3 clarifying questions. This protects you from premature closure and forces richer context. Reflective listening. Paraphrase and confirm. After someone speaks, summarize. You test understanding and signal attention. Strategic silence. Sit with the pause. People hate silence and will often expand on a thought if given time. Use the 5-second rule. After a key response, wait 5 seconds before speaking. You'll hear the sentence they were holding back. Ask for stories, not stats. Replace. Is this working? With tell me a recent story about how this worked or failed. Stories reveal constraints, incentives, and emotions that numbers hide. Practice these and watch decisions improve. They rewire how people approach problems, from rehearsed sound bites to honest context. Small rituals to make listening contagious in your team. You can't rely on individual willpower alone. Embed listening into your operating rhythm. Pre-meeting reflection. 3 minutes of silent notes before anyone speaks. Round-robin check-ins. 60 seconds per person, uninterrupted. Great for surfacing quiet voices. Empathy interviews. Leaders periodically spend 30 minutes with frontline staff asking, "What's the hardest part of your job?" No agenda, no slides, silent brainstorming. 5 minutes of writing before group sharing to let introverts lead insight. These routines shift culture unobtrusively, from speak first to understand first. Listening is active. It makes leaders decisive, not weak. There's a myth that listening equals indecision. It doesn't. Listening makes your decisions more accurate and more durable. You gain better information, stronger buy-in, and earlier detection of failure modes. Oprah listens, then decides. And her decisions cut with surgical clarity because they're informed by deep human insight. That's decisiveness born from depth. The influence multiplier effect. Why listening scales. Leaders who listen don't just make fewer mistakes. They cascade listening through the organization. People emulate what they experience. When you ask 3 great questions, your team starts asking great questions. When you stay silent and wait, your organization learns to tolerate complexity. The result? Faster learning loops, better customer insights, fewer blind spots. A quick experiment you can run right now. Before your next high-stakes meeting, run this simple 3-step experiment. Ask 3 open questions about the problem. After each answer, paraphrase what you heard. After the second paraphrase, stay silent for 5 seconds. Notice the difference. You'll hear hidden constraints, real fears, and the practical objections that determine success. Why listening matters more than ever. We live in a world drowning in noise. Everyone fights to be heard. That makes listening rare, and therefore valuable. If you learn to listen, you don't just participate in the conversation, you shape it. You find the truth others miss, you spot opportunities data can't surface, and you build teams that move with clarity and courage. Listening at scale. The neuroscience that makes it work. First, a fast science refresher so you stop treating listening like feel-good fluff. When someone feels truly heard, their brain releases oxytocin, the hormone that promotes bonding and trust. Simultaneously, activity in the amygdala drops. That biological shift moves people from defensiveness to openness. Listening literally changes the conversation chemistry. At the same time, mirror neurons help synchronize emotional states. When you listen with calm presence, others' nervous systems follow. Great listeners aren't just polite. They co-regulate teams under stress, turning panic into focus. Finally, listening engages the prefrontal cortex more reliably. When people feel safe, they produce better ideas and judgments. Translation: listening produces trust, clarity, and creativity. And these are measurable neural outcomes, not metaphors. Common objections and how to answer them. Listening is slow. True, at first, but speed without quality is false velocity. Listening reduces rework and saves time downstream. I don't have time. Then swap one shallow meeting for one deep interview. The ROI appears in reduced firefighting. Will people game the system? If you reward truth-telling and penalize hiding problems, you'll change incentives fast. The quiet ROI you can see. Companies that embed listening see measurable gains. Fewer costly pivots, higher retention, faster product-market fit, and more authentic brand loyalty. The math is simple. Better input, better decisions, lower execution cost. Final provocation. Be the kind of leader people want to tell the truth to. Leadership isn't about dazzling people with answers. It's about becoming the person others trust with truth. That trust starts with one simple habit: ask better questions, and then shut up long enough to hear the answer. If you're serious about building lasting influence, make listening your daily practice, not an occasional virtue. If this resonated, start small today. Ask 3 questions, sit in silence, and notice what surfaces. Subscribe to Next Level Leadership for more strategies that don't just upgrade your career, they upgrade your life.